Functional obsolescence, loss of value due to outdated features. 4-bed, 1-bath. Functional obsolescence is a loss of value because of an outdated feature of the property. Economic obsolescence is a loss of value due to a change in the environment or outside the property. People drive cars now, so they don't need a buggy whip factory. It's the change in the economy that makes the factory less valuable. Functional obsolescence deals with the property itself. The classic example is a 4-bedroom house with only 1 bathroom. Currently, people expect almost as many bathrooms or more than bedrooms. This property has lost value because of functional obsolescence. Synonyms: internal obsolescence. Antonyms: external obsolescence, economic obsolescence. Material fact: information that could change a buyer's mind. A material fact is a piece of information that, if it had been known, would have caused the buyer to decide not to buy a property. We can never really know exactly what would make a buyer change his or her mind and should not really try to guess. If we must err, then err on the side of providing as much information as we know. If, after buying a property, a buyer decides there was something he didn't know that would have changed his mind, and the seller knew it and didn't disclose it, then that was a material fact. Mold in the bathroom? Disclose it. To one buyer, it is not a material fact. To another, it is. The roof is leaking? Disclose it. To one buyer, it won't matter. To another, it would have killed the deal if he had known. It's better to kill a deal than to go through litigation after the sale. There is a school of thought that full disclosure helps weed out the buyers that will cause trouble after the sale anyway. So the rule is to disclose, disclose, disclose. The phrase material fact describes an issue that would change a buyer's mind. Property: anything which may be legally owned. Property is anything which can be owned. There are 2 types of property: real and personal. Real property is land, anything attached to land, anything appurtenant to land, or anything immovable by law. A house, garage, tree, or light fixture attached to the house is real property. Anything not real property is personal property. Property, in general, is anything that can be owned. Express reservation easement, reserved by seller of adjoining land for his own needs. An easement is the right to use land owned by someone else. An easement has a dominant tenement who benefits from the easement, and a servient tenement who bears the burden of the easement. Types of easement include express grant easement, express reservation easement, implied grant easement, implied reservation easement, easement by necessity, easement by prescription, and easement in gross. An express reservation easement is when a seller sells a piece of land adjoining his property and reserves the right of way across that land as an easement in the sale, and therefore on the deed of the sold property. An express reservation easement is one reserved by the seller for his own needs. Thrift, savings and loan, savings bank, mutual savings bank. Thrift is another name for a savings and loan, parentheses and parentheses S&L, or a savings bank or a mutual savings bank. A thrift can be mutually owned or stock owned. The idea behind a thrift is that many depositors deposit money into a bank, from which loans are made, parentheses called a compensating balance, end parentheses. In a mutual thrift, profits are paid to partners. In a stock thrift, profits are paid out as stock dividend. A thrift is a savings and loan, a savings bank, or a mutual savings bank. Synonyms: S&L, savings bank, mutual savings bank. Related words: compensating balance. Title insurance. Insurance policy for losses because of title defects. A grant deed carries 3 warranties of title transfer: that the grantor has not already transferred the property to someone else, that there are no undisclosed encumbrances on the property, and that title will be transferred completely, parentheses, including any title transferring issues that occur after the transfer, end parentheses. A warranty depends on a person's word. Inevitably, a personal warranty is not enough to allow people to trust the transaction process. Title insurance is a more practical and realistic approach. Insurance can be purchased to insure the warranties of a title transfer or real property transfer. Since insurance companies deal in risk, they will investigate a title prior to agreeing to provide a title insurance policy. This title investigation process is really what ensures that the title transfer warranties are more likely trustable. The insurance is a financial warranty that if things go wrong, the cost of correction will be paid for. Title insurance is an insurance policy to cover any losses experienced because of a title that doesn't transfer fully for one of the reasons covered by the policy. Power of sale clause allows trustee to foreclose on property loan in default. The power of sale clause is the clause in the documents of a loan made on real property with the property as security for the loan, parentheses, hypothecated, end parentheses, that allows a trustee to foreclose on a property with a loan in default. If a trustee is involved, then it is a non-judicial foreclosure, which means that the court does not have to be involved. The advantages are a couple. First, a trustee foreclosure is faster than a judicial foreclosure. And second, a trustee foreclosure means the loan was a trust deed. In a trust deed, there is a borrower, beneficiary, parentheses, lender, end parentheses, and a trustee who holds title to the property until the trust deed is paid, which lenders find much more amenable than a mortgage where the borrower holds the title. This is one of the reasons that a mortgage is not used in California. Almost exclusively, the first trust deed is used. The power of sale clause is the clause in a real property loan that allows the trustee to foreclose in the event the loan is defaulted on. Related words: hypothecate, trustee, non-judicial foreclosure, trust deed. Closing. Conclusion of a real estate transaction. Closing refers to the end of the escrow period for a real estate deal. The closing of escrow usually means the successful completion of a sale. If all goes well, the buyer gets the property, the seller gets her money, and the agents, possibly agent/agents, get their commissions. Commissions. Everybody is happy. So the phrase has become a part of common expressions. People will say, quote, "We need to close escrow," end quote, meaning complete our business with everybody happy and everybody getting paid. Closing is the conclusion of a real estate transaction. Synonyms: close escrow. Related words: escrow. Deed restrictions. Limitation on use of property. A deed restriction is a limitation on the way a property may be used. Deed restrictions are most often the writing of conditions, covenants, and restrictions (parentheses, CC&Rs) and parentheses, into the deed of a property. Remember that deeds are used to transfer title of real property from one person to another. Deed restrictions are most common with properties such as condominiums, subdivisions, or homes protected for historical purposes. Such homes are almost universally governed by a homeowners association, HOA, who is typically in charge of developing, maintaining, and enforcing CC&Rs. Deed restrictions may present a real problem for home buyers who do not know they exist at the time of offer. It might be wise to notice that a neighborhood seems to be very uniform and therefore is likely to have CC&Rs or deed restrictions. Deed restrictions are limitations and requirements placed on the use of real property. Unity, shared aspect of multiple owners of a property. Unity means a shared aspect of a property and is most often used in regard to explaining relationships within ownership or within the four types of tenancy: common tenancy, joint tenancy, partnership tenancy, and community property tenancy. In common tenancy, there are only one unity, that of undivided interest in a property or equal right of possession. In joint tenancy, there are four unities: unity of time, parentheses, all parties must become joint tenants at the same time, end parentheses; unity of title, parentheses, all parties must take title on the same deed, end parentheses; unity of interest, parentheses, all parties must have an equal, undivided interest in the property, end parentheses; and unity of possession, parentheses, all parties have equal right of possession of the property, end parentheses. Unity means a shared aspect of a property and is most often used in regard to explaining relationships concerning multiple owners of a property.